What's going on, people? Welcome back. Another week, another workout. For those of us that were with me last week, we had a box and a bunch of kettlebells and everything. My car had just gotten stolen earlier this week, and in there was kettlebell, suspension trainer, and a supply of boxes. So back to basics, just hopping in with one kettlebell, one mat. So obviously if you got more, you can pick the weights that work for you a little bit better, but I'm working with a 45 today for everything. Hopping into some AMRAP. So those of you that aren't familiar with AMRAPs, it means as many reps as possible. So we're gonna set up a workout routine. We're gonna have 2 segments of AMRAP, 2 segments of just like traditional style weightlifting. For the AMRAP segments, just get through as many times as you can. The first one is gonna be a descending pyramid, so just reps are gonna decrease each go around. And then the second time is gonna be a set rep scheme. You just go through it for that allotted amount of time. It'll be a good one. We're gonna get after it. We're down by the water today. Sun is shining, feeling good. So if you're uncertain with some of the movements, go ahead, jump to the back, and I'll have the whole layout, have the videos going over things with you. If you are comfortable with it, we're gonna go ahead, get a 5-minute warm up, just like last week. Get the blood flowing, get the juices flowing, and yeah, let's have a good one today. All right, we'll see you on the other side. All right, folks, welcome aboard. We are in the warm-up section, so let's get loose. Let's get the blood flowing a little bit. Let's open up these joints and just get everything primed for movement. Feel free to hop in when you feel comfortable with these movements. We just have the timer going for 5 minutes. Pretty easy, pretty accessible movements here, just trying to limber up all the joints. And now would also be a good time to do a little bit of reflection. Think about why you're here, set an intent for this workout, what you want to get out of this. Do a mental checklist for how we're feeling, how the elbows, the shoulders, knees, ankles, how everything's feeling today, or if you're feeling good, or just flushing out the system a little bit. All in all, just set a intent for the workout, get yourself mentally prepared. maybe at this point the first bead of sweat is forming on your brow. Hopefully we're warmed up, hopefully we're ready to rock. We're gonna give ourselves 30 seconds just to kind of recuperate, get everything in order, your kettlebell, your water, get everything set up. On the slide here, you'll see those 4 movements that we're gonna hop into. It's gonna be a descending pyramid. You're gonna have 12 minutes altogether. First go around is gonna be 10, and every subsequent time through the exercises is gonna be 1 last rep. So just keep on going through it. Once you get down to 1, if you make it down to 1, go ahead, jump back to 10. I think I only made it through about 1 time. This one's a doozy, so definitely pace it out. See what you can do in these 12 minutes. It'll be the swings. We have some swing cleans, some overhead pressing, and squatting. So we're working the full body right here. 12 minutes. Let's see what you got. 6 minutes down, 6 minutes to go. Depending on where you're at, you could be approaching that home stretch right now, getting towards the 5s, maybe the 4s. This is where it gets a little bit easier, it goes by a little bit quicker, but salvation is not there. You just go back to 10, unfortunately. Let's wrap it up. Let's finish up strong. Got a nice 2-minute rest after this one, so pace it out. And let's finish on a high note right here. Excellent job here, y'all. That was a tough 12 minutes. Y'all earned this 2-minute break right here. So get some water in you, get off your feet, rest your legs, shake them out, do a little stretch if you need to. We're gonna hop into another segment, more traditional style of weightlifting, so a little bit slower paced, a little bit more strength influence. So let that heart rate come down, and then we'll hop into some different movements. That first one will be that floor press, so same leg bridging, same arm pressing. You'll see it up on the slide, and then we're gonna combine that with a little bit of pulling movement, so an overhead pulling of the lats as well as a sit-up. So same idea, we're still hitting the full body, a little bit slower pace before that second round of the AMRAP, but let's focus on these two movements coming ahead.
inside the rabbit hole. Set me free from you. Somebody please keep me from twisted. Keep me from twisted. Keep me from twisted. Keep me from somebody please keep me from twisted. Keep me from twisted. Keep me from twisted. Somebody please help me. Keep me from twisted. Keep me from twisted. Keep me from twisted. Keep me from somebody please keep me from twisted. Keep me from twisted. Keep me from twisted. On and on. What kind of spell you put on me? I've lost all sense and can't feel. Only you can make me whole. I don't wanna lose my soul. I'm so scared I can't breathe. I just don't know what to believe. You roll my name on your soul. Set me free from you. Somebody please keep me from twisted. Keep me from twisted. Keep me from twisted. Keep me from somebody please keep me from twisted. Keep me from twisted. Keep me from twisted. Somebody please help me. Keep me from twisted. Keep me from twisted. Keep me from twisted. Keep me from somebody please keep me from twisted. Keep me from twisted. Keep me from twisted. Somebody please help me. Please help me. Please help me.
Great job with those last couple of sets there, a little bit slower paced, focusing more on the pressing and the core and whatnot. We're gonna have a nice 1 minute break just to kind of get our bearings again, cool down a little bit before hopping into this next round of AMRAP, another 12 minutes. The rep scheme is gonna be a little bit simpler than the last go around, just all split up into 4s. So we're doing 8 reps all together on each side. First one just being the bent over row. We should be pretty familiar with this movement, pairing that with an alternating reverse lunge. So we're getting an upper body pull, lower body press. Then we're gonna move into that metabolic portion with the snatches. If you are comfortable with this overhead movement, by all means. If you're kind of weary with the snatching, you can just move that into an alternating single arm swing. So same mechanics as a double hand, but just adding in a little bit of proprioception, going from hand to hand. And then we're gonna wrap this one up with some upper body pressing, getting some metabolic and core involved with the knee drive. Once you get the 4 for all of these, back to the start, and we're just rinse and repeat for the 12 minutes. And that timer is up, so let's get into it.
always a miss. Can't put my finger on it, but it's there. Wait for it to subside, but my mind won't apply. Waiting for the clear. Is it bad? Sometimes I like it when I lose control. There's something in it that's so beautiful. Listen, I can see the light today, but I can also see the bones decay. I don't know what else there is to say. I'm doing my best not to run away. Sitting throwing rocks across the pavement, hoping it'll cave in and swallow me whole. Wondering how the world keeps on spinning, kinda scared of living when it unfolds. Hard to see the light when everything is silent, waiting for the clear. Thankful I'm alive, but terrified of dying. But hey, I'm still here. Is it bad? Sometimes I like it when I lose control. There's something in it that's so beautiful. Listen, I can see the light today, but I can also see the bones decay. I don't know what else there is to say. I'm doing my best not to run away.
halfway point here, 6 minutes to go. Hopefully you're faring a little bit better than I was at the moment. Let's keep trucking through it. Home stretch. Yes, sir. And ma'am, y'all are doing great today. Let's rest up for these 2 minutes. This is a long workout. We're almost there. Get your water, rest your feet, shake out the legs, do a little stretch. Do what you need to do. We're gonna wrap it up right here. We got 3 sets left in the tank. These ones are gonna be a little bit different. We're gonna be testing our core, our balance. We're gonna get some thoracic movement. But really take these slow, take them at your own pace. They may be a new movement for you. We'll have them up on the slide. The curtsy lunges and the halos, testing our core. Swing lunges again. We're gonna have a unilateral load. We are embracing the suck today, my friends. So let's empty the tank. Let's finish on a high note. moly. That was a good one. Great job today. That was nice. Sunshine, down by the water. Hopefully you find another place to work out at, whether it's, at a gym or outside in your backyard or something like that, or down at a park. Good that you're getting out, getting moving, finding the channel. Hopefully this is working for you. Let me know what y'all think about today. It was kind of a different of the workout design here. We used the AMRAP, so this is kind of a good workout scheme. So you can kind of tailor it to see how much you want to push it today. It's just giving you that amount of time. Whatever you can do in that is perfect. If you got through it one time, that's great. If you got through it multiple times, you're a maniac and really killing it, that's even better. I want to say even better, but everything is good. Whatever you're doing is fine. But yeah, let me know what you think of this workout design. Sprinkle in the traditional style of weightlifting. Let the heart rate come down a little bit, but unilateral stuff, some pressing, some pulling, some rotation, a lot of core. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you next week. All right, take care. Analyze some movement, shall we? That first one, that'll be a kettlebell swing. So we're gonna crowd that kettlebell, have like 3-4 inches behind yourself, soft bend in the knees, flat back, shoot those hips back. On that initial pull, we're using that momentum. Let's have that kettlebell come up, slap us on the backside, and then as we extend through the hips, we're squeezing the glutes, and that's what's gonna drive that kettlebell up to about mid-chest. Let gravity do the work here, act like a pendulum, real fluid with it. Try and recalculate right there, have all the load driving through the heels, in through the glutes, all through that lower body. Lean, building off of that swing, now we're gonna incorporate the shoulders. So the same thing we were just telling you not to use. So same mechanic, soft bend, getting that hinge pattern, and then as we extend upwards, we're gonna drive the elbows up. Never want our wrists higher than the elbows. So big pull from the shoulders, and then into that front rack position, and then same idea. As you let it go, you kind of want to have that same little bop off your chest, and that should get that same J pattern back into it. So real fluid right here, use the hips, big pull up top. We got a kettlebell overhead press, so if you're comfortable with that front rack position, we're just grabbing it by the horns, resting it right underneath our chin, and doing a drive up top. So a lot of shoulder strength, a lot of tricep work going on, and then really want to be mindful of your core. So really squeeze your glutes, lock that trunk midsection down. You don't want the ribs coming up, you don't want to see an arch in your low back. Try and have the weight as much in your heels as you can. If you start getting fatigued a little bit, if your shoulders start getting gassed out, you can do a little dip, sink down into the knees, and then as we extend upwards, you can use that momentum. But ideally, we're gonna try and keep it as controlled as possible, really focusing on that upper body, really getting that press and strength. Into our goblet squat, so this will be the 4th movement in that first AMRAP. Once you hit this, you can move back into those swings. Once you have that front rack position, after that last overhead press, you can just hold it tight, keeping that torso upright where you're going to descend. So into that squat, try and be mindful of keeping our knees pointing out, no valgus, so you don't want the knees shooting in or the hips getting all wonky on you. So real nice in control. And then as we raise ourselves up, we want the hips and the chest raising at the same time. So something to be mindful of. You see a lot of people, their butts start shooting up, then they kind of do like a deadlift up top when they start getting tired. So just the whole time, everything moving in unison, driving hard through the heels, bridging the knees out, extending the hips, keeping the chest upright. Second portion, this will be our traditional style weightlifting. So just getting that heart rate down a little bit, letting everything cool off after that 12-minute. It'll be a single arm floor press with an ipsilateral glute bridge. So ipsilateral meaning same size. If we're pressing on our right side, we're gonna be bridging up on our right side. So left side, that leg will be extended, that hip will be off the ground. If you can kind of visualize a bowl of soup or something hanging out on your hips, you don't want to be spilling anything. So nice and level right here. This is going to ask your quads to really stabilize, your core to stabilize, and then as we press, just trying to stay as fluid as we can. Obviously with the load, you're going to feel a little bit of want to sway a little bit, so just staying really mindful, really slow. As we press upwards, we want to have it as vertical as we can. Same idea when we let that elbow go down to the ground or the mat. We don't want that forearm going any which way. So everything nice and vertical, straight up, straight down. Pairing here with our presses, we're gonna get a little bit of lat work, so just antagonist muscles, making sure everything's nice and even for you. The setup right here, we wanna have our heels together and then have our knees kind of facing out. So this is gonna take out the strain on your hip flexors. A lot of people, they rely on the hip flexors in order to flex that trunk at a sit-up. In doing so, we're gonna take the hip flexors out of the equation, or the pullover. We're gonna have a slight bend in the elbows. Go ahead, find a point that works for you. If you can get all the way down and touch the top of that kettlebell down to the ground, that's beautiful. If you start feeling a little bit of strain when you're going back there, that's where you call it quits. It's kind of a compromised spot if your shoulders aren't used to getting in that position or your body isn't allowing you to get there. Get back, get a touch, and then as we come up, we're really going to try and forcefully engage our core. We're going to get a sit-up, get that kettlebell as vertical as we can. So we're getting the core, getting the lats, shoulder stability here, and on the way down, we're avoiding the plop. So we don't just want to fall back down to the ground. Use that core, eccentrically lower yourself down and back into a pullover. Moving back on into another 12-minute AMRAP. We're going to start off right here, just all sets of 4. So bent over rows, this will be 4 on each side. Same idea, think of a deadlift. So feet are going to be about shoulder width apart, slight bend in the knees, weights in the heels, hips are back, really bracing the core, making sure it's a nice tight plank up top. And then we're just going to alternate sides, doing that row. So picture starting a lawnmower or a snowmobile, something like that. Driving hard through the elbow. Good scapular retraction. We don't want that shoulder rocking down. And then when you get to the top, just a big squeeze in that lat. Really try and focus on that muscle group that you're pulling from. Try not to just lift that weight up. Really try and, imagine that lat working and pulling that kettlebell up for you. Alternating sides. Second pairing for the AMRAP, we're moving from an upper body pull down to a lower body press. We're gonna rack it up there in that front rack position and just move into a lunge. So what we can kind of picture, we want 2 90-degree angles. So that front leg from the hip to the knee, that's at 90 degrees, and then the rear leg, the tibia, so your lower leg, and then your femur, you want that at 90 degrees. So you don't want to be too extended, you don't want to be smashed right on top of one another and you got all these acute angles and your knees going over your toes and whatnot. Make sure everything's sound. Your torso is going to be upright. So you want your shoulders over your waist, right there at the kettlebell, and driving through that front heel. So pulling yourself back up to center, engage those quads, get yourself back up there, and just alternate in between the two. You got 4 in each. Metabolic conditioning right here. We're really going to get that heart rate up in this department, and then some shoulder stability as well. So if you're comfortable with the snatch, this is how we're going to do it. Bringing in the swing mechanic, bringing in the deadlift mechanic, and a little bit of that swing clean as well. So really forcefully extending, driving hard through the heels, extending the hips. As we pull, we want to keep the kettlebells close to the body, try and have a vertical pull, and then we're going to snap underneath it. The farther that kettlebell gets away, if we're making like a big C loop, that's just going to be more difficult for you to control, less efficient. You're going to be using a lot more energy that way if you're turning it into a big swing. So just trying to stay as vertical as we can. Obviously, you're going to get a little bit that outward movement just because you're extending through the hips. But once you catch it up there, if you want, you can move it back into the front rack position, alternate. If you feel adventurous, you can move it straight from that high position down into the next swing. If you're not comfortable with the snatch here, you can totally just do alternating single arm swings, which is fine. Just moving back to the regular swing pattern that we had in the beginning, just using one hand now. Find something that works for you. We're gonna hit 4 on each. Our upper body pulling, lower body pressing, metabolic, and shoulder stability. We're gonna hit the deck here. We're gonna do a push-up with an alternating mountain climber. So again, for upper body pressing, we're gonna get a little bit of core, keeping your heart rate up for the metabolic portion of it. So we're doing a press, and then on the top portion, we're just gonna drive 1 knee up. 8 altogether, so you're gonna get 4 knee drives on each. If your arms are feeling it at this point, it's kind of a longer workout. You can definitely just do a modified push-up, hop up into a plank, and then hit 2 of those mountain climbers. But whatever your body's allowing you to do today, go for it. Press, then 2 knee drives. Last segment here, moving back into a traditional style of weightlifting. We're going to be doing an alternating halo into a curtsy into a torso rotation. If we have it in that front rack position, let's say we're moving everything to our right side. The weight is going to be on our right leg. Let us move that kettlebell to a right ear. So everything is going right. So it's around the head, right, left, to the right, left leg wraps around. And then when we're there, we're going to move to the left. It's almost like I'm giving twister directions right here. Probably easier seen than spoken about, but this will open up that thoracic, get really good shoulder mobility here with the halo. And then as we move into that curtsy, a lot of proprioception, a lot of balance, a lot of hip work as well. You're going to be straining those adductors as well as using the quads and the hamstrings and all that stuff. This is a really fun full body one to wrap up the workout. And then that thoracic mobility as well with the torso rotation. So we're looking for right here, we want to move up top. So if our shoulders have headlights on them, if they're facing ahead, when we do that rotation, we want to move the shoulders. We don't just want to move the arms and get the kettlebell away from us. That'll just have more of a strain on our core. So as we rotate, if we get to halfway there, that's totally fine. If you can rotate all the way with your shoulders and everything allowing you to do so, even better. But just stay really mindful of you're not forcing anything. So feel the sensation. Don't just try and chase that shape that we're going for with the rotation. When we return the center, drive through that front heel, and then we're going to get back to that starting position. Now we flip it. So left ear to right ear, going to the left side, right leg back, right side twist. You'll see it. Last but not least, we have a single arm swing lunge. So if the kettlebell is going to be on our right side, we're really going to have all the weight on our right leg. So that left leg is going to come back. As we move back, same idea as the swing almost. So get a little momentum, so swing that kettlebell up just a little bit. So as we go back, that weight is transferring with us. And you'll definitely see in the video right here how the weight kind of responds in my core as we're going back. You see the urge to lean over through that kettlebell, especially with it, having that movement as we're lunging. So this is just a little bit more dynamic, asking a little bit more out of your core to stabilize, especially as we're moving throughout this lunge. And then you'll feel it as well. The weight kind of comes back, you feel it more in your glute. As we swing forward, you should feel it a little bit more in your quads, which is pretty interesting for you to feel it. If this is a little funky for you and you keep on, whacking your thigh, your knee or something like that, you can totally just have it sit still and just do a regular reverse lunge with the weight on that side of the leg. If you're feeling adventurous and want to try out a new movement, by all means, give it a go. Just be mindful of where your hips are, where your chest is moving. Same, staying with those good lunge mechanics.